we had a chat with an engineering manager recently, and he was asking how can his team be both resilient and adaptable? Aren't these opposites? So let me give you an example with the podcast that we were doing. We started it 4 years ago, and I want to show how you can be both resilient and adaptable at the same time, so they are not quite opposites. So 4 years ago, we started recording a podcast. We thought it would be a nice idea. It was during COVID times. And first we decided that we have to be resilient, so we have to put persistence within it, because otherwise we might fail. I read a story that most podcasts fail after their 7th episode. So Vasi and we talked that we should record at least 8 episodes before thinking whether it's a success or not, whether to ditch the idea or not. So what we did was we went to her place, so we recorded at her place. I was laying on the sofa or sitting on the sofa, depending if I had a back pain or not. So we re-recorded these episodes, and at some point, so initially the external events, so the adaptability and the resilience is always connected to something happening outside of the team. So some external circumstances or external forces that are trying us to push us in other direction. So the initial response to the podcast release, we had very few viewers. So this is like a indication whether it's successful or not. And you might want to change immediately, and that will be too adaptive and not too resilient, because you're going to change quickly. So we decided, let's keep doing it in the same way before doing any changes. So we did a few episodes, and slowly the audience was not only our mothers, we get not only people we know, but what happened next was Vasi went to maternity leave. She was going to be a mom. So we recorded 12 episodes. That was the external event. We recorded 12 episodes, and now there was a decision we had to make. Do we stop the podcast so we can be, in order to keep the same way, we have to wait for Vasi to return after a year or so, and then continue. This will be too rigid or too resilient, protecting our way and not reacting to the external circumstances. But what we did was we decided we'll change the way we do the podcast. So I will be the only host. And second, we have to change the place of the recording. Then we changed. We went to Launchy, the studio. So it was no longer at Vasi's place. And also we decided that we will invite tech people as guests. And that's how we shifted the format of the episodes. So we are both adaptive. We continue doing the podcast. So this is the resilient part. But we changed the way we do the podcast. So we continued doing that. And after Vasi returned from maternity leave, there were a few things that we wanted again to react to. We had people from that were listeners. They were sending us some questions that they have to deal with, whether it's teamwork or soft skills challenges that they have at work. And we wanted to respond to that. So we wanted to respond to that external need. We wanted to be adaptive, but we still didn't want to break things. We wanted to protect our approach. So we just introduced another type of episodes where we call them internally deep dive episodes, or Radio Tochka 2. Radio Tochka 2 is the podcast name. So we now had two kinds of episodes. One where we deal with questions from the audience or the listeners, and the others are with guests. And the final example of how we can be both resilient, so doing it your way, but still adaptive to the external forces or external needs, is over the years, we consistently got the feedback, we want video, not only audio episodes. And we wanted to make it as easy and as possible for our guests. So it's difficult to record video, and if you don't do it regularly, it can be very scary for the guests. So we didn't want for the guests to feel uncomfortable, because we invite tech people. They are not the regular public speakers. So we didn't want to do that. So we were protective of them. This is the resilient part. We didn't want to do video episodes with the guests. However, we wanted to respond to this need of seeing us on video. So we decided that whenever we record podcasts, episodes that are without guests, as I'm about to go in an hour with Vasi to record such, whenever we are alone, we'll record video. Whenever we're with guests, we will record audio only. Probably this might change in the future as well, but that's the exact part. We're keeping something, so we're resilient, we're protective of something that we care about, but we're adaptive to something else. So the external need, they're not clashing directly. It's like in conflict resolution, you might have a win-win solution where you satisfy both needs. So that's why resilience and flexibility or adaptability, they are not opposites. They are two different axes of that are related to the same context. Whenever something outside pushes you to change or to tweak something. Hope that clarifies things.